Hello and welcome. Hope you're doing all right. I am doing all good. Mostly been working out the front, but that's a bit of a before, middle, and after video. So it's taken me about 3 weeks to build it all out there, but we'll get into that. That'll probably be the next video. I'm hoping to finish it this weekend coming up shortly in a couple of days. Well, no, it's not that close, unfortunately, 4 days' time. So yeah, I thought we'd just have a little bit of a walk around, see what's happened. We've had the hard frost, we've had the storms, we've had the wind, so we can just see what's survived and what hasn't, and how things are doing coming into the new year, and hopefully it's sort of, in the broader sense, getting a bit more mild. So yeah, the big thing out here at the moment actually is the wife has put upon me that she wants to get a trampoline for the kids. I'm a bit sort of about that. We had to throw it right at the beginning when we got the house a few years ago about what we would have, whether it would be a trampoline or a climbing frame. The climbing frame won out, as you can see, and I've kind of built the garden around it effectively. But it's okay. They take up the same space, but however, the wife is wanting it in addition to the climbing frame. So this is where we're just butting heads a little bit, but I'm gonna have to plan, going forward for that. She wants one that's going to fit in this sort of gap here, this sort of section of grass in the patio. But with these things, I figure if I'm going to get him one, I don't just want one that he can just go on himself. You want one of the fairly bigger ones, like what they come in, like 8 or 10 foot, something like that, where you can get a few of them on there, and if I fancy a bounce, I can have a bounce as well. So the decision I got at the moment is obviously the location for it. The size knocks out that area just there, so really there's only two places it can go, which is in place of the climbing frame, or over where the patio is going to go. And then going on from that, we've got another two options, which is the above ground trampolines, the ones that got the legs on that you just see everywhere, or you can dig them into the ground so that the sort of trampoline bit is flush with the ground. There's pros and cons to each, really. If I put a nice patio down there in the next month or two, when I get all that wood out of the way where the clothesline is, and then just dump a trampoline on top of it, we're going to lose that space. As you can see, I've made a seating area there. There's going to be a nice coffee area up sort of in front of where the barbecue is, a big rock waterfall. I don't think we'd really get to enjoy it if there's a big trampoline there. And, let's be honest, they look hideous for the most part. So, I could possibly put one dug into the ground there, but I don't mind the digging so much, because I was actually thinking in future I might dig a fire pit in, or a hot tub or something like that anyway. So that would sort of get the whole half done. But then, what are we going to have on top of it, cover wise? Because I can't think of a way to put like a patio or even a decking on top of it so that we can use it as that sort of seating area when we're not using the trampoline, if that makes sense. So yeah, not really too keen on it going over there, to be honest with you. So that leaves here again, it's a shame to lose the climbing frame. And my point was made exactly this weekend. He had his mate round, and they were on there for 2 hours, like climbing, racing each other over it. You can see the fascia has been stripped of the berries, and they're all strewn upon it and stuff like that. And once I build the rock wall up for it and stuff like that, I think it's a bit better. But she wants what she wants. So two options here, and I could make this work quite well, actually, I think, regardless of whether it's in the ground or above ground trampoline, because if that slide's not there, I don't need to not have a flower bed running along where the black edging is, if that makes sense. So what I could do is put a nice big trampoline in there, either above ground or below ground, I don't mind, and then just put a flower bed in from the fence post all the way across over to where this one is, and then just get some high plants, bamboos or the fatsias or wherever, and then that will sort of half hide it, if you see what I mean. And also I could also underneath it put a little sort of flower bed in and just chuck some ferns in there or something like that. So yeah, decisions to be made. If that climbing frame comes out, I don't think we're going to get the resale value on what we paid for it, but I won't go into it too much. But I might make a little fort out the front, for the kid, obviously, not for me to go and hide somewhere when it's all hectic. But we'll get into that another day. So yeah, that's just something that I'm sort of contemplating at the moment. It's a bit of a pain, but you know, we got to work our way around these things and do what's best for the kids, I suppose, he says with gritted teeth. So we'll just have a little look around the garden now and just see what's going on. Most of it's kind of all right. We know it's all right in here. Everything all right's in here. It did rain the other day, so I pulled all these out just to give them a good soaking, which they got. The only one I'm slightly worried about is this Dicksonia fibrosa. It looks like it's getting a bit dry, but we're due a frost, or it's due to go down to 0 degrees tomorrow night. So I'm going to leave these here for another day or two, and then once we get past that bit, I'll bring them all out into the open so that when it does rain, they get rained quite plentiful and can get a bit of sun. Now the sun's a bit stronger. So they've all been doing all right. There's the big Lophosaurus that's starting to brown off a little bit now. Got the North Island pine and the Phrolepis. They did get burnt off a little bit. Just these ones sort of right there, you can see in the centre, but then the ones just below it, they're all starting to come out. So they'll look really good in 3 baskets. I'll probably put them up on that last joist hanging down just to put something in there for now, and then we'll get into all this at a later date, you know, what I'm going to do regarding putting some flower beds in there. So really big ones over here, the Cyathias. Straight into the sun. Let me just work myself around. So you can see, as predicted, all the Cyathia fronds are burnt off and gone. This one snapped. That wasn't anything to do with itself as such. It had frosted off, but it sleeted after I had the whatchamacallit on there, the fleece on top, and when the fleece was only clipped onto everything with clothes pegs, so of course all I had to do was get close to it and breathe on it, and the clothes peg slipped and dropped, and it dropped the heavy fleece with sleet on it straight on top of that frond. So that's 3 snaps for me this year on that fronds. But yeah, I mean, going sort of forward on it, it's going to be a kind of keep the thing alive with the coil like I have done there, shove a load of leaves on it. That seems to keep them alive, and just let it grow a new flush of fronds every year, and we reckon we get about 5 or 6 maximum. It may get more as the plant gets bigger, or gonna have to go all in with the protection and maybe rig up a little corrugated, you know, the plastic corrugated roofing on top of it. But even then, it's so big and wide, it's going to be difficult to do that. But yeah, we'll see how we do. For the most part around here, if we have a look, we've got this Blechnum nudum, which I got and put in here last year. It seems to be okay under there, so that's quite good, because that was a pretty tender one. Most of these are all okay. The Fatsia spider webs over there in the back's okay. This Hydrangea Samanii in the post is just starting to come through a little bit now, so hopefully that'll all kick off. Dicksonia is doing really well now that Cyathia has gone brown. It's really standing out. So yeah, that's good. It's still got its leaves in the top. Fatsia's all looking good. Like I said, the all the berries got stripped off it on the weekend, or for the most part, but you know, I'm sure it'll be okay. Round here to Cyathia number 2, which is slightly smaller in a coil. Again, lost all the fronds on it. I'll chop them back shortly. You can see the one that folded over there. This area here, actually, I am going to do a little bit of jiggery pokery on it. And what I mean by that is I'm probably going to take that fig tree out, just because it's eating at me, and it's been eating at me since a year before I put it in the ground. So yeah, I think now's the time to do it before it gets too big and straggly, although it does look good, and I'm a bit attached to it when it's got leaves on it, if you see what I mean. So, but I'll probably put a Schefflera in there, and then just take up the dropped its Atrata, which is the one folded down on the left, divide that up, and then maybe move that Hydrangea Samanii, which is against the fence at the back there, maybe move him out a little bit just so he's a bit further away from the Fatsia. But they're all doing all right. Caledonia Maidenhair survived. Fronds on this aren't looking great. In fact, it looks like it's got a load of wet leaves on that, so I might need to replace those leaves shortly. But yeah, I was getting a bit worried they didn't get any water, but it's rained for the last 2 days, so that's quite good. Anything under there's, you know, all okay. This Fatsia is doing good. The other Cyathia, which hasn't got the coil on it, again, lost all the fronds. We'll see how that one comes up like in the spring. Schefflera's looking good, a little bit sort of folded up the leaves, so you can see they've curled up a little bit. Not sure why that is. A few of the plants did that. I was under the impression it's because it was cold and frosted, and then it didn't rain for a while, so hopefully in the next few days, now it's rained, they'll all sort of come back to life a little bit. This thing is probably, I don't want to call it my favourite climber, but I'm loving the form on it. It's just, I don't know what it is about it, but yeah, it just looks really good, the form. If that whole thing, I've got one in the corner down there as well, which I snapped last year, or the kids snapped last year on Halloween. Hopefully it'll recover and bush out. But if this thing grows over this whole fence looking like that, it's going to be a real specimen. Blechnum's doing all right. A couple of the fronds, Blechnum chilensis doing good. A couple of the fronds have browned off, you can see at the bottom there, but the other ones are looking good. We got a new one coming out just there, so that's good. Canna, I can't remember if this died off the last time I do it, but yeah, I just need to, I'm just leaving it there just while we've got these last little bits of frost, because obviously it acts as a little canopy, the old dead leaves, and then I'll chop them all down and mulch it in. Something that didn't survive, which to be fair I only put in October, is this Blechnum Brasiliense Red Volcano or something like that. So I didn't really give it the best chance. It was just a cheap buy from B&Q. It didn't survive. I may buy another one if I can find them cheap enough, chuck it in there in the spring and see if that makes a difference to the hardiness. And you can just see a remnant of the Tetra Panics that was there at the beginning of last year, with that little leaf just coming through up there. But this Scheffler is looking quite good. Clematis almandii, the other one's starting to flower. Oh, this one is a little bit as well, so that'll all come out in a minute. I like the form of the Clematis almandii as well. I do like a good climber, I must admit. I do like a good climber. But Lophosaurus has done all right. That has just been like that. You can see the new frond got burnt off there, but the rest of it's done really well. Just this one leaf coming towards us that's possibly a little bit dodge. Probably, yeah, probably the best all-round easy life, hardy, best looking fern you can get that I know of, that I've got, if you see what I mean. There are probably others that I haven't got, or others that I've got that do well in other gardens. That's just been there, the old Willemi, so that'll be going in the ground when I do the patio in the next couple of months, so that'll be good. I need to find something to mirror that, where it's sort of on the angle of that flower bed. I need to put one over there where that pot is. I did have that Lematia ferruginea, which is a kind of small tree that looks a bit ferny. It's behind all of the giant honeysuckle there. We're going to have a look at it in a sec. But yeah, it's not like the lack of light or water, because it's all dead in there now. So I can maybe get another one and shove it in there. Or the other option is maybe the Norfolk Island pine that we seen a minute ago over in the corner. I could shove that in and then dig it up each year, but that seems a little bit labor intensive for my liking. On this one, we've got the Lophosaurus offcut here that I divided last year and put in. That survived surprisingly well, actually. So yeah, that's good. Happy with that. That Scheffler again, slightly curled up leaves on it, but doing all right. All the rest of these are doing all right. Again, another Atrata looking up. It just looks, it's just a sort of, it's a 8 or 9 out of 10 every day of the year. That doesn't matter whether it's the middle of summer or whether it's the middle of winter. It looks absolutely fantastic, and it looks good from all different angles as well. So yeah, if you do ever see one of them, definitely worth getting. And you can see I've got one in deep shade, which literally gets no light, and then one in full sun, which gets lots of light, and they all do all right. So coming over to this, here's the big Lophosaurus, which was only a smallish Lophosaurus last year, not as big as the other one I divided, but this is doing all right. So we've got a few of these fronds have burnt off a little bit. I don't know whether they were new, possibly looking at the coloration on them, or they might have just been unlucky. This Scheffler is still surviving. So, gonna see what happens with it in the new year. It's green, and the leaves haven't dropped off like it did with the Scheffler rhodendifolia, I think I had, where that died through me basically over mothering it. And there's that Lematia ferruginea there, the brown thing in the center of the screen. Now coming on to the main event, as it were, the giant honeysuckle. You can see a lot of it has been sort of frosted off on the ends. But then what happened is, because of the winds actually stripped everything dead off. You can see all the strewn bits, so you can just see kind of like this one here. You can see this long bit's all black, and then it goes back, and then it's brown, and then it's green there. And a lot of these things, like these ones here, these are all full of leaves. These actually look pretty green on the end. But yeah, so what I'll do is that is quite good in respect of it did have a hard frost. There wasn't the bananas there covering it this year. I didn't put any fleece on it or anything, and a lot of it has survived. This was one that I thought needed a good water, and once it's got a nice water, it's all nice and leathery now, so that's good. It's getting a bit of sun. Hopefully that'll reinvigorate it a little bit, and then all the plan will be is when it starts sending out new shoots, April, May or whatever, I'll give it a tidy up, cut all these long bits off that I don't need, and then do a line basically down that ladder in the trellis to separate the honeysuckle from the clematis armandii, so they don't sort of overtake each other, and we've got a nice definite border in there. Yeah, this clematis is just starting to flower. I don't think I saw these a couple of days when I came out of look, so it looks like it's got a nice lot on them, and this is a good time for it to flower of the year because not a lot else is happening. So we move our way around, not too much going on here apart from a football. This Blechnum's doing okay. It looks like it's been stood on. Yeah, so we've got a few bits, the ends of them are a little bit worn, but otherwise I think it looks pretty good for something that's supposed to be tender. So yeah, happy with that. Moving on around to Camellia Corner. There's the camellias. You can see we've got some nice buds on the back one. This one, it doesn't seem to be flowering all at once. I had the first flower about 3 weeks ago, and then I'm just getting one flower at a time. But yeah, I'm unsure if I'm supposed to be doing anything with that, like pruning wise. I haven't done anything with it, so yeah, I'll just see how they grow. I've seen some guy down the road's got some that look like topiary bushes, what I mean? They look pretty good, but yeah, we're going for wild and Ragley, if that makes any sense. So big Dicksonia looking good, didn't get too frosted off. I did just chuck a fleece over all this section. That leaf there is the Mrs. Prune, the Kentia palm, or whatever they're called, the house plant. I just shoved it in there. Don't know why, actually. It's been it's been in there about a month now, and it's still looking pretty good. Tetrapanax survived. I think they look like flower buds, are they? But that's all contained, and that'll look quite good. And then, yeah, really thoughts for this bit is just, I've got that, you can't see it, but I've got a giant honeysuckle cut in, which is ready and raring to go. More than likely going to put it in that flower bed there, but also I want to build another flower bed in this section under the lizard, so that I can put I've got a Tetrapanax pup, and if I put that at the same height as that, so I'm thinking maybe a 2-tier flower bed here, a higher one at the back with a climber that can climb up that, probably a Brugmansia, and then a bit of a deeper one lower, the same height as that, just a block up or so for a Tetrapanax, and then that'll look quite nice as you're coming in and out of the house with 2 Tetrapanax leaves sort of encroaching on when you're walking. This is all for me to tidy up. The front is making me free up wood that I can then use to box in all this piping and all that, so I'll do all that probably next video. It will be me sorting all that out. Then I can get rid of all that piping insulation over the right and the back corner. Then I can pull all the plants out, have them out here, clear up a little bit, and the thing will move onwards and upwards. So yeah, it's just a little view to see how it goes. It's not too bad. I think it shows the importance of the backbone of the garden being evergreens and hardy plants, as it were, and then just dotting a few, but each to their own. I go at my mum's house and she's got more of a cottage garden, and it doesn't look anywhere near as green as this. You can see all the flower beds in this, and that's fine. Her garden probably looks a little bit better in the middle of summer, but I would say mine at the moment looks better, and it should get even more better the more plants I get in there, and as I get closer to the end and sort out that last quadrant over in the corner there with the patio and the waterfall. We may as well have a look at these passion flowers. Doing okay. They've been stripped a bit with the wind, whereas this one up here has been stripped a bit with the wind. You can see I've still got the fairy lights going over the pergola. So I need to take all that out, run some new wires across, ready for when I put honeysuckle over there, finish that bit of trellis now, looking at it over there on the right where the sort of art and the lantern is, and yeah, go from there really. So yeah, just a bit of a check-in. Hope you're all doing well, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.